I got to tell you that my role includes 3 or 4 different things, but one of the things that my role is now including is moat digging. We're putting together an alligator farm. Let me explain that. We have a castle. Our castle is our technology and our products and all of those things that are important to us on a day-to-day basis. Um, I hope you understand that one of the things that I do is try to put out the very best product that you can sell, that you can get to your people, that you feel like you can confidently refer it to someone else, use it, and of course, and refer it out. But in order to get to that point, we have had to go through a number of things through the technology side of things. We have our hydrostat technology. Most of you have had an overview of it without a whole lot of detail. And there's a reason for that. It is a trade secret. And what we do not, how we do it, we do not want to have out in the world. But anytime you have secrets or you have technologies or you have things that, what's the word I want to use, that you want to be sure you protect, you want to make sure that there is, in fact, protections that are there. So, as I don't, those of you who went with us to on the Diamond Cruise, remember that we stopped in La Palma and Mallorca, and they have a castle there. And out front, they have this big body of water. It's what's left of literally a moat that they had dug around the castle. And sitting in this water is an alligator. Now, the alligator isn't real, but you don't know whether or not it is or isn't. So you're certainly not going to go into the water and get the coins off the bottom just in case. We want to make sure that when we get our moat dug around the castle, that we will be able to keep those that might otherwise destroy our technology or use it or abuse it or change the things that we have, that they will be in fact stopped by the moat of the legal protections and intellectual property strategy that we have. Now, having said that, okay, I've just, let's see, I've changed my hat from innovation officer to construction engineer, and now it's chief innovation or general counsel. So we're going to talk about the legal side of things. We have filed a number of patents. We continue to do that. We have a patent strategy. The way the U.S. patent law is that you file, you have an opportunity to have it reviewed. Once the review is done, then the examiner decides what things are patentable and what things aren't. We're in the middle of 3 of them now and have 2 more pending. That is an idea that we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable, that we feel very strong about protecting what we have, our formulas particularly. And the other piece that we have is both good news and bad news for all of us. Undoubtedly, with all of the excitement that came with it, you've all heard about a study that was done by a third-party group. And it was actually the conversation and the news of that probably left this office or our office sooner than we probably should have had that conversation. We will give you the following pieces, and this is as much as we're going to give you, and there's a reason for it. First of all, we have the idea that, or we asked the question, does our glutathione enter cells? That was the question. That was the question for the examination. And what we learned is that yes, it gets into the cells. The 2 other things that we learned was that it gets in much quicker than as we had hoped. And thirdly, that it gets in and stays in and has a chance to make a difference. That's as much as I'm going to give you right now. Now, the reason for that quietness is because we are in the middle of working with our intellectual property counsel, our attorneys, to be able to create this moat, to be able to dig this protection, to be able to file the patents, to be able to analyze what things are important and what things aren't important in terms of disclosure. So you've now received both the rumor and the confirmation that a test was done. You've heard enough of us say that the results were phenomenal and that we know that we get glutathione in the cell. We aren't going to be publishing the study. We're not going to actually use it until we have all of the information that we need and all of the protection in place. I know that's frustrating as heck for all of you. There is nothing more exciting for me than to have great news and want to share it and not have the ability to provide it. We want you to know that we are continually working to reinforce the long-term innovation that we have. New products, new product lines, areas that we haven't used yet, haven't done yet, but will be doing. It's been an absolute blast for me. I'm having the time of my life. I've said that a dozen times, and I mean it. I just want you to all feel like you have the ability to have confidence in Neumi science and the protection behind the science, and of course, credibility. We have good products, and a lot of people have had great experiences, and that helps because that takes the sting away from not being able to show all of the details we want to show. The reality is that we need that moat dug. We're still building it. And that's my piece for today. I can't believe that I'm in the middle of this. Thank you all. This is so much fun.
Well, thank you. And my one regret is the staff has no idea what I'm going to say because even though I have it written out on paper, it rarely follows paper because I'm not a businessman. I'm a family man. And Neumi is a family. You know, this is a business. I was once a consultant to their biggest competitor, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola Worldwide hired me back in 1972 to help them with one thing. What did I know? I was just a kid, but I had done some things and they wanted some help in that area. And the executive vice president hired me for about a year. And I did it on the side. That was always fun. But it's a company. Pepsi-Cola is a company. Yes, Neumi is kind of a company. But that's not why the men that work here work here. The executive team didn't join Neumi because we're a better company. They joined because we're a family. We treat people with honor. We treat our executive team with honor. They're very, very important to us. And we expect that that's carried out all the way through customer service, all the way through the field, our diamond leaders, to their downlines and so on. This is a company. Look at this. That's a family. Okay. Now, this is when the family was a little younger. That's Ryan. He's a vice president and co-founder with me. He and I started this company. This is Sean right here. Sean, come over here. See, where does Sean work? He doesn't work in another office. He and I share an office. Why? He's not only my assistant, he edits my books. And we just have the best time together because we're a family. I mean, that's what it is. I'm a family. I'm a brother to Aaron, and Aaron's a brother to me, to Anton, to Chris, to Sergio. We're a family. We're your family. Anybody that has met us face to face knows you're treated as our Neumi family. So much more important. Ryan, co-founder, Devin, now a heart surgeon, Sean, my assistant, Hallie, now married and living in Michigan, going to back to school there. We're family members. And one of the reasons that I travel all over the world to meet people is to hear about their families, what Neumi has done for their family. I got to tell you, when we went to Greece, we did not expect 550 people and 110 doctors and a medical professor of 43 years. at the Harvard attached medical school there, and neighbor to a man who has become a brother to me, a true brother, is Sotiris Nikolopoulos. And the breakthroughs these people bring to us, you think you know about what we have. I do have some things I want to communicate with you today. When I was about 8 years old, I loved cutting school. And my mom was a working mom. My dad was a working dad, and they never gave any friction. I said, I don't feel well. Do you want to stay home? Yeah, okay. So one of my favorite programs to watch was a daytime show called Truth or Consequences. They would ask a question, and if you didn't give the right answer, you had to pay the consequences. And one that was so amazing, I never forgot it, and I'm going to share it with you. This man answered the wrong question, and they come out and they have for him, we're going to put you on the street corner of Hollywood and Vine. And thousands of people pass on Hollywood and Vine. And we're going to surround you with plainclothesmen detectives. They won't know they're there. And we're giving you this diamond. This diamond was worth the price of 3 brand new Cadillacs cars. Today, in today's dollar amount, it'd be worth actually, it was worth over $1 million. And what you're going to do, all you have to do is sell it to one person for $1. If you can get one person to agree to buy that diamond for $1, then you and your family are going to get an all expense paid trip to Hawaii. That's motivation. And so you'll take this ring down and you will try to sell it to somebody for $1. Now, you're not allowed to tell them that you're on a show. We're going to have cameras all around. We have it all set up. People won't know it, but they're being recorded. Sell it for $1. And he said, okay, you think you can do that? Yeah. Well, there's one thing we haven't told you. And all of a sudden, makeup artists come out, people bring wigs, and in 60 seconds, they dress him as a hobo. They put on a jacket where the pockets ripped out, and they grease up his face a little bit and mess up his hair. And they say, yeah, that's the catch, but you get a trip to Hawaii if you can sell that diamond. So he goes down, and they keep cutting back to him. It's 20 minutes of the show. They keep cutting back, and he's stopping people, and he's pleading. He's saying, look at this diamond. It's worth a fortune, and you can buy it for $1. And not one person would buy that diamond. So he didn't get the trip to Hawaii. And yet it was real. And you saw, as soon as he finished, all these security men come over, they pick up a box, they put it back in a box, and they cut back to Bob Barker, who was the host of the show. And, but it taught me something. The fact that he couldn't sell it didn't diminish its worth, its value, tremendous value. And he couldn't sell it for $1. Okay. What we have in our Neumi products and our hydrostat delivery system, we have 100 carat, actually 1,000 carat diamond. The most expensive diamond in the world is worth $450 million. And our diamond is worth more than that. And you don't have to become a salesman and beg and plead people to try it. If you're doing that, you're not getting our vision. So I want to talk to you about how to present. First of all, I want to talk to you about what we have that's so different. Now, when you talk to people about glutathione, we had guests here yesterday, and they're very smart college graduates. The woman, 40-year-old mother of 3, had she ever heard of glutathione? He's a mechanical engineer. He got his degree from University of Michigan. Has he ever heard of glutathione? No. Most people haven't heard about it. And yet it's the most studied molecule in medicinal science. And over 198,000 published studies. That's more than all the studies on vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin D, CoQ10, superoxide dismutase. All the other antioxidants combined don't equal that. It's the most studied because it impacts the most things. Okay, it performs over 400 functions that we know about. Nothing else we know. There's not even oxygen transfer without it. There's no immune response. Your immune response becomes a wimp without it. Can't kill anything, bacteria, viruses, or anything. Your cells clog up with chemicals. Everybody on this call has at least 200 industrial chemicals in their body right now. And the only hope of getting those out is glutathione. Why are we different than anybody else? It's because of hydrostat, our delivery mechanism. Now, you can pay $300 for an IV infusion of glutathione. Now, wouldn't you think that would be the best? It's the most expensive, but look what happens. This represents a glutathione molecule, and it comes into your bloodstream through an IV. You know what the blood does to it? I just checked it out and just to make sure all my facts are right. It breaks it into 3 parts. You see, glutathione is a tripeptide: glycine, glutamic acid, and cysteine. Those 3 things, okay? Well, the IV, it's in the blood long enough for it to break them apart. And what gets delivered to the cells isn't glutathione at all. It's these 3 peptides go into the cell. That takes a while. Once it's in the cell, then the cell has to reconstruct these. And it can do it pretty fast, about 26 minutes. And it's not super efficient. But now you have a problem of half-life. In 90 minutes, it's only half as potent as it was when it entered the cell. 90 minutes, an hour and a half. You just paid $300 for what you think is the best form of glutathione. Well, that doesn't work. Why is glutathione so hard to deliver? All these scientists that have done these 198,000 studies know it's the most critical molecule to life. Now listen to this, 3 things. Life, if you're not writing this down, hopefully you'll watch the recording of this. Life, and that includes lifespan. Health, whether or not you get sick, how quick you are to get sick, how quick you are to recover from sickness. And performance, how you perform through your day. Everybody on this call is a performer. You wake up and life doesn't end when you wake up. You know, some of you go back to sleep, but you're not going to make any money or put food on the table if you do that. You got to get up and perform. How well you perform is entirely dependent on glutathione levels. If you're in a disease state, if you have compromised factors, obesity, overweight, malnutrition, injuries, then your glutathione levels are even lower. Your glutathione levels decline by 8 to 15% per decade. I'm 77. That means my body produces 65% less glutathione today than it did at the age of 20. But all of my critical numbers are where they were in my early 30s. I'm not on any medication. Now, if I needed it, my doctor would put me on it. If I needed to be on statins, if I needed to be on blood pressure, but no, none of that. I've been into glutathione, honestly, since 2006. So we know, honestly, an IV is not the most efficient use of your dollars. So what happens is when glutathione gets into the stomach, the stomach acid breaks it. And your cells will not accept a broken molecule. Bad news, okay? So to get around that, you see glutathione, this represents a cell. A cell is 100 nanometers in diameter. One strand of your hair is 80,000 nanometers in diameter. 100 nanometers, and the little pores in the cellular membrane are only 10 nanometers. Well, glutathione by itself is just at 1 nanometer, actually a little bit less, 0.8 of a nanometer to 1 nanometer. So it easily by itself could get into that pore. Problem is, it's never going to get to that pore because your stomach breaks it up unless it is encapsulated. So manufacturers, all the glutathione you look at on the market these days, whether it's internet, any competitor, they encapsulate with fats, lipids. Okay, now when they put that lipid encapsulation, can that get into the pore? Too big, can't get in there. So it sits on top of the cell and relies on outside energy forces to push it into the cellular wall. What little makes it into the wall now has to get through the wall and make it into the cytoplasm of the cell, or it's not effective, not efficient, like riding a bicycle uphill in the wind in high gear. Pedal fast, move slow, may not make it to the top. What have we done with hydrostat? We've taken that molecule. By the way, this takes a molecule, lipids take it from 55 nanometers all the way up to 300. Pour in the cell, passive diffusion, only 10 nanometers. Now, here's the good news. We found a way to encapsulate with water molecules. Bad news, won't protect it through the stomach. Okay, but we don't have to worry about that because we're entering primarily through the mucous membranes inside your cheeks. Anything under 300 nanometers can be absorbed into the bloodstream through your cheeks. And what happens then? Okay, it's in the bloodstream for one pass of circulation. And during that one pass of circulation, it exits and goes right into the cells, not sitting on top of the cells, but coming through the pores through passive diffusion, not requiring any other energy source. That has now been proved, folks. Nobody else in the world has the proof that we have that we do that. But we already knew we did that. Why? Because you couldn't see the results that we see without that. Now, you have a diamond that is more important than the Hope Diamond. You know, my wife, when I was 47 years old, gave me this watch for a birthday present. I had gone through a hard time because one of my best friends in life, my dad, had died. And that was so sweet of her. Didn't know how much she paid for this. This is a very expensive watch. Today, this watch goes for over $50,000. But you want to know something? This watch can only tell time. It can't add one thing to my life. My most precious commodities are my health and my longevity. Because I can't be a good dad, a good husband, a good father, a good grandfather if I don't have my health. My ability to perform, it can't do any of that. Our products can. Our products can slow down accelerated aging that's caused by oxidative stress. That's glutathione effectively and efficiently delivered. Now, I want to talk to you for a minute about hope, because you not only give people life-changing products that they can't get anything anywhere else. If you gave me the choice of having that watch or giving me one extra day with my kids and my grandkids, it's not even a thought. Take everything I have, but give me time with my kids. Good time. Time where we can communicate back and forth, where we can hug each other. We're a hugging family. Anybody that's been around any of us know that. And my watch can't give me that. Nothing can. But guess what? Guess what gives me more time? Healthier, better life, higher performance. Am I an athlete? No, I've never been. Ryan laughs. Ryan doesn't tell you he was the national champion high jumper of the United States in high school. But you know that he doesn't rely on that now. He has
the fastest kid in the state.
Oh, he was the fastest kid in the state. That's true. By the way, come here, Sean, one more time. So this is my sweet Sean. Sean wasn't an athlete, but he took pictures of Ryan at all the national meets and everything that we still have today. See, we're a family. That's Ryan winning the national championship in 2009. But you know what? His wife keeps him humble by saying, "You used to be an athlete." Ryan's still in great shape though, but you know what? What's more important? He is a great father. Great, not good, great. He knows what Maddie needs and he provides that. He is a great dad. He is a great son to me and my wife. Oh, he's so supportive, and so is Sean, and so's Devin, and all of our children are that way. We are a Neumi family. We are in this with our hearts first, our minds second. Now, not only do you have the world's most important and best products to offer these people, we get to see things you never get to see because we get feedback, pictures, stories, studies from doctors that are on our medical board. And our medical board is stellar. Harvard, Stanford, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Sloan Kettering. I mean, the biggest names and there are people. And you know why they serve for free? Because they have seen things that unfortunately you haven't been able to see. But that's what we have. We have a 50-carat diamond. You know what this is right now? I want to show you something. Let's see if I can get right here. That's a countdown clock. Your life is not a stopwatch. Your life is a countdown clock. There it goes. It's counting down, counting down. And there's nothing, none of us knows how much time we have left. Now, we can slow down the clocks in our body. How? By reducing oxidative stress. And nothing does it better than glutathione. And that's why science is so interested that it is now the most studied by far molecule in medicinal science. Now, what else do we give people with Neumi? We give people true hope. What's hope? Hope isn't a wish. I was talking to one of my other sons about that today. A wish is like a cloud, okay? I one time spoke at a huge conference, 30,000, no, it was 3,000 people at that conference. And they all stood up to buy my book at the end of the conference. Literally, everyone bought a book. It was my first book. And I asked people, what are your dreams? And they were like clouds. Oh, I want to be financially independent. I want to be rich. I want to do that. And it wasn't anything to do with Neumi. This goes back to 1996. Well, wishes aren't hopes. They're like clouds, come across from this side, go to that side, and we don't see the cloud again. Okay. What's true hope? Well, most of you know I've studied the Bible for many years, over 60 years. And if you studied the Bible and read every verse that you could find on the subject of hope, here's the definition you would probably come up with. If you can write this down because this is critical to your life, to the life of your children, your spouse. You can be an instrument of hope. They need to know what true hope is. Hope is the well-founded, underline those, well-founded, confident belief that that which is pursued, promised, or committed will be achieved within a specific amount of time. What's the foundation, the well-founded? Our foundation is twofold. Number one, our science. Our science is stellar. Nobody else has hydrostat, and man, we do. And it separates us in a million ways from any other delivery system in the world. Thank you, Bert, and God, because Bert gives the credit to God. He doesn't take all the credit himself. Okay, hope is the well-founded. Our foundation is hydrostats science, the science of glutathione, the science of what we put into our other products. That's one aspect of one ingredient in the concrete foundation. What's the other ingredient? Experience. Everybody on this call has experienced our product in a unique way, and you know other people around you who've experienced in other ways. Athletes have set world records on it. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So much so that, like I said, we had 100 plus doctors in Greece because of the testimonies of two doctors. The doctor that was the professor for 40 years in biochemistry and her next door neighbor, Dr. Sotiris Nikolopoulos. They wanted to hear what was making these huge differences. And then they see a dad stand up in that meeting and he tells about the miracles that he saw with his son, and he was crying. And everybody in that room had tears. So, what is our foundation of our hope? Number one, our science is rock solid. Number two, your experience and the experience of those people you come in contact. How many people know a 62-year-old who bench pressed 1,129 pounds? For those of you on the metric system, that's 512 kilos. And yet he's with us because while he was on our product, starting at the age of 59, he went from 700 pounds to 1,200 or 1,129, 512 kilos, 40% more weight than he had lifted 13 years earlier when he set the world record. That doesn't happen, but it does with hydrostat glutathione. How about what we have for hair? How about for the HERS product? How about the neural product endorsed by the American Brain Council? What you have is the well-founded, and now as you experience more and more, and the people you know experience, confident belief that that which is promised. I met Shannon, gave our window washer some product. He tried it with one of his family members who has a terrible situation. 30 days, and he calls Shannon, I got to have more. Where can I meet you that you can give me more? Here's the results we're seeing. He's seeing results where he's not supposed to see results with one of his family members. We drove an hour, and he drove an hour for us to meet up and just give him more product. Hope, the well-founded, confident belief that that which is promised, pursued, or committed will be achieved in a reasonable amount of time, a specific amount of time. There is only one Neumi in the entire world. There's only one hydrostat. I'm 77. I don't know how long God's going to give me on earth. And Aaron, the people that are close to me know that I think about that. I have the genealogical records of my dad's side of the family dating back to the 1300s. And so far, there's only been one man in all those generations that passed 79. That's a year and a half away, folks, for me. I don't know what God's going to do. He might give me an extra 50 years, 20 years, 2 years. I don't know. But I want every moment of my life to make a difference. But I can't get to the people you can get to. My only hope is that you will tell your friends and neighbors. You know the most important aspect of communication? Listening. Listening what's on their mind. Is it their kids? Is it their performance? Man, I wake up, I'm good for 3 hours, and then things fall apart. Or, oh man, I hurt. I hurt the whole day. When I gave Bill Gillespie, the weightlifter, our product, he would told me, Steve, a lifetime of weightlifting, I'm plagued with inflammation. I wake up hurting. I hurt for my 12 to 16-hour workday, which was training professional football team. And then I go to bed hurting, so I don't sleep well. Guess what? He started sleeping well within a week. His whole life changed. That's what we have. We've got the diamond, folks, but our diamond doesn't pass with time. Our diamond gives life. You change one life, you change a family. You change one family, you've changed generations. It's a legacy product. It's a legacy company. And you are the key And your Neumi family here in Salt Lake, you know what their responsibility is? To equip you with everything you need to succeed. And do they stop? Hey, we're good. We don't have to do anything else. No, Bert keeps coming up with ideas for hydrostat. And we experiment with Ethan, his our resident biochemist. They keep experimenting and coming up with incredible things. It doesn't stop. Do you think Ryan says, okay, we finally have the website, we finally have the app? No, they're always developing. Aaron, Chris, we tell Chris yesterday we have these families from a particular country that's not very much of a host to networking. How can we get our product in that country? Chris says, let me really look at their regulations. Okay. Chris looks at the regulations of every country we're in, 75 countries. We have to pay, make sure taxes are paid. Product is legal in the country. I mean, all those things, and it falls on Chris and his group. No, we are a Neumi family motivated by love. And we are totally dependent on each other and you. Thank you for joining our family. And we want to do everything. I get to go to Mexico with Ryan. I'm so excited. And they're going to Greece this year. I know we're going to hit Europe at some point. We've got our convention coming up in Spain. Man, what a great year we plan on having. God bless you. Happy New Year.